All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 1 from this next round, the second round of the WCS Shanghai Qualifiers. My name is Fear Dragon, joined here by Tempo, and we're hopping into it as we spawn down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, representing Team Flipside Tactics. Give it up for the North American JonSnow.
Dun, 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 dun. And on the other side of things, representing FCEO, it looks like, give it up for the Blue Zerg player, PandaBearMe. So we got a ZvZ cross positions here on Central Protocol, and already about to light things up here is JonSnow.
Yeah, already looking to get a little bit more aggressive, but this map is just crazy, man. Every single time I see a natural expansion take on this map, I'm like, are they taking a hidden expansion? Look at how far away it is. That's like a third expansion, right? Like, how does that kind of stuff affect ZvZ?
It's kind of funny because before, almost every other race would veto this map because it's so hard to take a third, so all you would play on this map would be ZvZ. But I think back when it was a 4-player map, it was a lot harder. Or, I mean, not a lot harder, but just anytime there's a 4-player map, there's the potential for just like wanting to cheese your opponent out because they don't react in time because they can't get that Overlord Scout, and it's hard to actually see Lings coming across the map. This time though, I think people are playing a bit more safe without trying to go into the all-in territory, and that's why we saw the gas pool and then the hatchery, as opposed to like a hatch first here out of PandaBearMe.
Yeah, we're also going to be seeing a pretty fast Roach Warren coming out from JonSnow, so he really just doesn't want to deal with that Baneling stage of the game. He's ready to move into Roaches right off the bat, which is a bit surprising to me, because I feel like normally when I see players trying to move straight into Roaches, it's on maps where you have those kind of narrow corridor, easy to wall off with 2 queen hallways, and that's when I end up seeing the Roaches, because then the Roaches can also deal with Zerg counterattacks much more easily, and, you know, queens can deal with them much more easily.
Oh, for sure. I think on this map, it's so weird though, because do you try to wall off your front there, or do you take the more defensive route and hold it back and just try to block off the little bridge there? Because it's nearly impossible, I would say. So
yeah, I
would assume that they would go for the wall off at that ramp. Honestly, don't see that many ZvZs on this map, surprisingly, even though usually you would think it would be the only matchup you see.
Yeah, it's sort of weird because we just don't end up seeing many games on this map. It's definitely not a very commonly played map, especially since all the changes. I really just haven't seen them come into effect. Like, for example, not having the backdoor rocks to your main base, but oh, we got a really fast third coming out over here from PandaBearMe. I want to see where this ends up going, especially since JonSnow is pumping out the Roaches now, and I think he probably is going to want to get a bit aggressive.
Yeah, I think that is pretty much how JonSnow likes to play a lot. He's getting Roaches right now, and the fact that he's only making a few at the moment makes me think that he's going to be chilling for a bit, play it defensively, and then turn up when he goes and he floods with Lings, because he's not taking a third here, Fair Dragon.
Yeah, PandaBearMe didn't get any... PandaBearMe's first scout was just now, where he was making Banelings, he was getting ready to bust on in, and then he sees the Roaches, cancels all the Banelings he was making. He was like, wait a second, this is not going to work. This is not a good idea. And he was completely caught off guard by the fact of how fast JonSnow got up these Roaches.
It's really fast, and the fact that he's not going for Lair or the third yet makes me think that he will follow it up with some really nice aggression. Perhaps he'll try to just cancel the third and then go home, because remember, these Roaches do not have roach speed, so it's not like he can really reinforce with more Roaches. I think the Lings will be the follow-up, but I just have looked at the production tab, and Ling speed is just beginning.
Oh,
so
boy.
It's not going to be what I thought it was. No.
Yeah,
I didn't realize he didn't have Ling speed.
You know, one thing that's always kind of confuzzled me a little bit about ZvZ is when you have the player that goes for the Roaches a little bit earlier on, and you know, they do it at this the cost of maybe not being as far ahead in economy as their opponent. And this is actually a really great example of that, where PandaBearMe gets that much faster third expansion. He's even up in workers and everything, but is going to be starting up his own Roach count much later than JonSnow. And do you feel like do you feel like there's a small timing window where JonSnow is going to have the Roach advantage, but if he doesn't take advantage of that, he's going to start to fall behind?
Exactly. The thing that's happening here is that PandaBearMe decided to go for a bit of a greedier play, even though he was going to try to Baneling attack. I think taking the third base is gonna benefit him more. He's up by about 8 drones or so, maybe 6 by now. But the fact that JonSnow made units to be safe means that he will be behind in the long run if he doesn't actually get any damage done. So it's the game of drones, you know, ZvZ. You always try to squeeze out as many drones as early as possible with as few units as well, unless they're going for an all-in.
Yeah, I think JonSnow is going to be going for that all-in. He's not going for his lair tech. He's actually going to be racing against the clock, and not just economy, but also that Spire that's now going up right now for PandaBearMe. And this is going to be difficult if he cannot make this damage work. He's going to be so unbelievably far behind in his tech.
He just made 8 drones, by the way, PandaBearMe, and he's also just making a bunch of overlords because he doesn't have enough supply to actually make roaches to defend. I think PandaBearMe might just die if he doesn't get good connections with the banelings at least, but the roach count, JonSnow, looking like 5 and 7, so it's not the roach count, but rather the roach ravager count. He can't lose the links to the banelings though, JonSnow.
Yeah, he's got to be careful about that. He did a really great job of making his own Zerglings just to make sure also that he couldn't just get easily counterattacked. That Baneling doesn't get the greatest connection over there for PandaBearMe, and PandaBearMe is just getting completely overpowered and overrun.
Yep, those 8 drones, he might be regretting them now. Even though he is still up by about 7 drones, he's going to get fully surrounded by the lings, and then the Ravagers and the Roaches are going to target down that 3rd. PandaBearMe is going to try to recollect himself at his natural, but that means that JonSnow has that 3rd base himself. Even if he went home, he would be ahead, but he has more damage to do.
Yeah, 4 mutas on the way, but that's it. That's really not a hefty number of mutals. That's not going to be enough to do anything. GG gets called. JonSnow.
You said it there. Was there a kind of timing that JonSnow has? And that was it right there. If he did not do that, he would be behind because PandaBearMe made more drones in the beginning and tried to play it a bit greedier. But I think that last round of drones kind of screwed him up because he got supply blocked.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of it came down to the fact that PandaBearMe, I mean, I wouldn't even say that was a loss because, you know, he messed up his control or, you know, his mechanics were off or he got out macroed or out microed or something. It was straight up just the fact that PandaBearMe took a big risk that, you know, didn't, like a big risk in not scouting out JonSnow until after JonSnow had already made 7 or 8 roaches. It was such a late scout, and it's just that extra cutting. I think the fact that he didn't even get a round of Zerglings to get a scout off, that was a pretty big deal.
It was a huge deal because he delayed the 3rd of JonSnow for so long, and then he tried to like squeeze out another round of drones. You know what I mean? It's like you give you an inch, you take a mile, and he could have been ahead if he just, you know, assumed that JonSnow was going to try to at least attack him. But I think what he, like, I keep bringing it up, but it was that supply block. He didn't account for it, and in that window of time, he just kind of got bopped, man. Just gonna be straight up, yo. He got bopped.
Yeah, seriously. And it also just occurs to me that I thought that we had joined the series at the beginning. Okay, cool. We did join the series at the beginning. Okay, just
cool.
I was a little bit afraid that, like, wait a second, did we join in game number 2? Is it like tied up 1-1 now? But yeah, we are good.
Imagine if
And we're gonna be hopping to the next series or next game, ladies and gentlemen. We're hopping to game number 2. We'll see you guys there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're hopping into it as we spawn down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map on top of the red Zerg player. Give it up for PandaBearMe.
Shoop da whoop. And his opponent spawning on the other side of things, representing Flipside Tactics. Give it up for JonSnow. And shout out to Elazer and Nerchio. Apparently, there are 2 Polish players that are in WCS Shanghai.
Ooh, snap. But we got a 14-13 coming out of JonSnow. Really just, I mean, like, this is probably the most aggressive build, or like the really most common aggressive build that we end up seeing in ZvZs these days. And he's gonna be pretty happy knowing that he's gonna face off against a hatch first from PandaBearMe. In fact, I think this is a hatch gas pool. This is probably the best case situation for JonSnow.
Yeah, I would say so here. Excuse me, sorry. What JonSnow is doing though is what is he actually going to commit to any aggression, or is it only for the safety? You know what I mean? Sometimes you go for it.
Is this like the old style of PvP where it'd be like you go for the defensive 4-gate to deal with the 4-gate?
To deal. It is a mix of it, and it's One of those things that is interesting to note only because it is this map, Dusk Towers, where you're relatively safe than, say, Ruins of Saras or something, where it's a lot wider on your natural.
Right.
But I think he is just kind of being a bit safer because he is... Well, we'll see what comes out of the live. If he keeps on making drones, then maybe. But he's making 6 lings here. 4 lings are also in production.
Ooh.
He might just go for the crazy ling all-in, but he has 1 in gas, so I don't think it's going to be a full, crazy commitment all-in. Like Ohana lings, right?
Yeah, PandaBearMe this game is actually making the 2 Zerglings and sending them across the map. He also has the Overlord outside of the main base for JonSnow, so once these Zerglings do start to make their way across the map, he's going to get information about that, but I think the Zerglings may be getting that information first.
Yep, but they might get caught. Luckily, speed is kind of close, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Yep, he's gonna lose those lings, and then he has to react right now.
Yep.
He needs to make banelings right now in Fear Dragon. Like, he doesn't have any lings.
He doesn't even have his Zerglings out right now. The Zerglings are still on the way. It's gonna be at least another 5 to 6 seconds. He's trying to throw down a 3rd expansion. Oh boy.
My god. Well, this is... What are these drones doing? I think
they're on hold position.
Oh, that is so smart. Kind of.
Oh my god. JonSnow has to manually target fire down these drones. And he's not doing it.
This is so cool.
Oh my god.
This is so cool, Fear Dragon. Like, it's so dumb, but it's so cool. Like, you know, like, somebody in the chat is probably like, dude, just hit H. That's not that hard. But this makes it so much easier to hold.
I have never seen that before.
Me neither.
That's such a smart response, though. It's actually really difficult to individually have each Zergling target fire down the correct drone. Even if you end up losing a couple drones, you can afford to lose them. You buy yourself so much time.
To hold position himself. He would have had to hold position himself, and the ones in the back are not going to do too much. If it was a Ling Bane attack, then it's a really dumb idea. But the fact that it did not have Banelings with it, then it is actually quite the smart move. Excuse me, out of PandaBearMe, who has that 3rd base, remember? And JonSnow didn't do that damage there.
JonSnow behind all this... He got a Roach Warren up, so he maybe wants to continue this aggression with Roaches? I don't know.
Wow. I think that was like the coolest thing I've seen in the ZvZ in a while.
Absolutely, man.
So that was really nice, because now PandaBearMe does have the 4 drone advantage. He's down in supply, but that's because of this wasted army supply out of JonSnow. And also, it is a bit bloated by the Roaches. Did PandaBearMe drop a Roach Warren? Or?
Yeah, okay, he did just recently drop a Roach Warren, and he's going to be pumping out some of those Roaches pretty soon. But he's, more importantly, I would also say, scouts out JonSnow's Roaches that are already out. And he's sitting at a really, really massive worker lead. This is a very big worker lead, on top of having that 3rd expansion finished up much earlier than JonSnow.
We saw this on Central Protocol. Now, what needs to happen is that PandaBearMe doesn't get too greedy. He already has a great advantage. He has the 3rd base as well as the worker lead. If he continues to drone right now too heavily, he might kind of suffer the similar fate where he did... Oh, nice bop by that. He did take out that Overlord with the Ravager, but I think if he continues to drone, which he's not, he would be in a lot of trouble.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. JonSnow is starting to drone up for himself and trying to transition out a little bit, getting his +1 missile attacks upgrade and everything. Zerglings starting to engage each other in the middle of the map. These Banelings not going to be able to make a whole lot happen. And exploding on the Ravager is not going to be the most effective use of them. But is JonSnow really going to try and push in with this?
I don't think he has a choice here. He needs to utilize his units here. He can't sit back because he realizes that potentially there is a 3rd base behind all of that, right? I don't know if he ever got a Ling in there, which he did. He knows about the 3rd base, and he knows how much earlier it is for PandaBearMe. So trying to do it is very risky because you don't have road speed, and you don't know if your opponent is teching behind it, but like... Maybe it'll force units out as opposed to drones, right? And that's what happened, because look at the worker count now. JonSnow is up by 47. It was a pressure to make PandaBearMe react. Oh, but the Lings are going to get into the main!
Oh, this is going to be really annoying. Losing one of these queens is going to cut down on his larva production, but more importantly, I would say, is this massive rallying of these Roaches across the map, and I just don't see what JonSnow has to defend. It's 10 Roaches to 23, even with a couple of Ravagers.
And Ravagers, right? Like, that is the main thing. The Ravagers of JonSnow are going to have to land those corrosive biles, and it's going to be really tough because, of course, you can move out of it, but they do not have road speed. Remember that, so it is a bit harder to micro. Luckily, the creep will give a bit of a speed advantage, but I think the defender's advantage might be okay here for JonSnow. He just needs to not lose all of his roaches right now and just continue to buy time to wait for more of his roaches to come out.
Well, but there are more roaches just rallying across the map for PandaBearMe. I don't think that JonSnow can hold on as long as he needs to.
Dude, the spine crawler and the defender's advantage is going to be so key here. Holding at the ramp, the corrosive biles. He's retained 2 of his Ravagers of the initial 3. But, oh, this is crazy. He needs to hold his ramp. That spine crawler is so vital in this defense right now.
That spine crawler has done so much damage. It might not have a lot of kills right now, but it is seriously heft out. Oh my god, JonSnow manages to hold tempo. You called it. I was really surprised.
The defender's advantage only because of the fact that he had Ravagers there and was able to, like, never let the roaches get in that full concave and just totally surround. So, if it was any other case and he didn't have Ravagers, Roach versus Roach, JonSnow loses there. But he was able to hold, and he also, I believe, has the tech advantage with this lair coming. Oh, no. It's actually just now starting, so.
Yeah. JonSnow is just starting up his lair. PandaBearMe just finished up his lair. But I will also say, you know, +1 missile attacks for JonSnow for that entire engagement was a significant help. We have a lot of Zerglings making their way across the map. They might be greeting JonSnow's roaches, but I think that they're trying to go for a counterattack. JonSnow's trying to cut them off, though.
Yep, just keeping that middle lockdown. And this is a really cool part about this map, but it's also a frustrating one where the attack paths are very clear-cut. You know, it's really hard to get run-bys done without being spotted in any matchup. So,
well, PandaBearMe trying to go for that Spire once again. Didn't work out so well for him in the last game, but this is a pretty different game as it's shaping up to be. And what is JonSnow going to be up to? He is throwing down another Evolution Chamber. It seems a lot like he just wants to stick around on Roach Ravager, but if he's going to be dealing with those Mutilas soon, he really does need to have some sort of anti-air.
Yeah, this is a lot better of a Mutilas transition than he did on Central Protocol, because JonSnow, you know, he did hold, right? But this time around, it's a much bigger map, I feel like, or it's okay, I guess Central Protocol is pretty big, but I don't know. I just feel like every time I think of Dusk Towers and Mutas, it's usually going to have a good time. Very, very long distance here from base to base.
Well, the Mutalists are going to be on their way. 8 of them already going to be popping out. Now, JonSnow did get an Overseer into the main base of PandaBearMe, so he's starting up his Spore Crawlers in each one of his bases. He's going to be throwing down 2 at each one of these bases, which I think is a good idea. Spore Crawlers not quite as strong as they used to be.
But they're still okay.
Yeah.
They don't completely wreck Mutas, but luckily for JonSnow, PandaBearMe invested in a big Roach Ling attack. So that means he's not going to have that crazy Muta count at the point of the game where you actually don't have the anti-air or time to react to it.
Yeah, and JonSnow is going to be getting up those Hydralisks now, so he should have the Hydralisks about just in time to start defending against these Mutalisks when they start getting to a fairly large number. In fact, speaking of these Mutalisks, the Mutalisk count is still growing. He's making a lot of Mutalisks, more than I expected.
And he's also supply blocking JonSnow. He's going to take out one of the queens, but remember, the target fire from the queens was really good. Oh my god, where the hell did those come from? The roaches are going to just attack, but they might be surrounded.
Yeah, this is definitely not a nice concave for PandaBearMe. In fact, it's a convex. And these roaches and hydras, the hydras are going to be able to push on through with it at raw DPS, and the Mutalisks are not going to be able to accomplish a whole lot with the Hydralisks there.
PandaBearMe is targeting down the Ravagers, but now he needs to go for the hydras because that is the only anti-air here. JonSnow pulled drones to deal, but remember, he's at 50 or 61 drones to the 53 of PandaBearMe. He's going to hold again? Are you kidding me? JonSnow lives to fight another day.
And he's just climbing further and further ahead with those upgrades, going up to +2, +1. And he's going to be finishing up +2 missile attacks before PandaBearMe even finishes up any of his upgrades.
Because, I mean, he invested in the Mutas. That's a lot of gas, right, Fear Dragon?
Yeah.
You hope that attack would have kind of sealed the deal, but it didn't. And now he has a tech that is essentially useless as soon as the Hydras hit the field.
I mean, the Hydras are already out on the field right now, and they're in pretty decent numbers as well. And I saw during that engagement, PandaBearMe was doing a good job. He was focus firing down the Hydras, trying to take them out, but the Mutalisk count, I think, just dwindled so rapidly, even fighting against the Queens, that he just didn't have enough to make an impactful difference, I feel.
Yeah. And it comes with the territory of being on 3-base versus 3-base. A lot of the times why 2-base Muta is a lot more powerful is because you're only just starting to get your tech up. You're only mining off of 4 gases, right? Or your opponent. And Mutas, I feel like, are really superior at that point. But, I mean, you're on 3 bases. You can afford Hydras. You have enough hatchery production for multiple queens. And you can sacrifice a few drones for spore crawlers because of the economy that you're on. So I think that JonSnow is in a pretty good spot here. He has the better tech. He's going for infestors with it as well. While PandaBearMe looking like he wants to go for what looks to be a Lingbane Muta. And you know what, that's not very good against Roach Hydra. As long as you need to get connections, right? Like, you need it.
Yeah, it's gonna be
E-Harmony. E-Harmony is key.
Oh god, and especially with the infestors coming out for JonSnow. If he even gets a fungal growth down on and the banelings as they try and roll their way into the Hydralisk, it is gonna spell doom and disaster. They're all gonna be taken out really quickly. PandaBearMe is doing a pretty good job with this Mutalist harassment, though, finding nice little locations where the spore crawlers are not entirely covering everything.
No, it's hard to cover everything with the spore crawlers, right? And we are seeing at least the Mutas finding some kind of usefulness for themselves, which is good, because in a straight-up fight, I don't think they're really going to stand that much of a chance at all.
Oh, fungal growth catching a couple of the Mutalists. Not going to be close enough for as many fungal growths chaining it together to allow the Hydrals to get there. PandaBearMe is doing a nice job with the harassment, but here comes the Zergling Baneling aggression across the map. He's looking for that big engagement. Where is it going to be? The location is going to be so important. Whoa. Big fungal growth on all of the Mutas.
Whoa. Oh, that is the money fungals, sick fungals, Kevin would say. But now there are no more fungals for the Banelings, and they're going to be able to connect with the Hydras, perhaps. Here they go. So many Banelings.
Wow, that's
split. A barrier. G to the G. JonSnow takes it 2-0. Holy moly.
I want to say that I have only heard really positive things about PandaBearMe and like how well he's been playing lately, but JonSnow is just, I don't know, man. They did a great job, and God, that split at the end. There was like that scary moment where it was like he caught all the Mutalists, but their Banelings were coming in, and he had no idea the Banelings were coming. But that instantaneous split, man, I would have thought that he was a Terran player.
I know. That's pretty sick, though. He was able to avoid that, and it almost was a trap there, you know what I mean? But it just wasn't in time, and JonSnow saw it coming and was like, nope.
Oh man, okay, hold on, tempo. I'm seeing that State versus Huck is a match that is happening.
Really?
I think it might have already started though. Oh man, that's got to be a great PvP.
Yeah, I would be down for that.
Yeah, I also saw that Coma ended up beating out Bales, which might be a bit of a surprise to some people. Bales is definitely considered like one of the top North American Protoss players, but I will say, like, Bales has been struggling a bit lately. I've been seeing Bales not really getting the big results, or like as big of a results as his name would sometimes lend him to get in a lot of the North American brackets, and I feel a little bit bad for him because I think that there are some things maybe he's struggling with. I don't know if it's like dealing with time management between like his real life and like everything else that's going on.
Being a baller, you know? I mean,
yeah, you
gotta fight off those girls, right? He's just like, life is tough.
Life is tough being Bales, man. He's got it hard. But alright, we're gonna be hopping to a short little break. As we go to a commercial break, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. You guys are watching the WCS Shanghai North American qualifiers.